it feels like moderate is not a stance, it's just an attitude toward life of like,
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was interviewed by Brianna Joy Gray of The Intercept at South by Southwest. Now, this entire interview was fantastic. If you have the time and after you watch my video on this, watch the entire interview. You're going to see a congresswoman give genuine responses to questions that you don't normally see. So when you have people in Washington, politicians, they answer these questions 99.9% of the time with the standard cookie cutter answers, or if they answer it genuinely, they clearly don't know anything about the topic they're talking about. But in this instance, AOC gave really almost like a mind shift in how to view politics in Washington and politics in general. So just to give you one example of that, let me play this clip of AOC talking about moderate politics and incrementalism.
I think all of these things sound radical compared to where we are, but where we are is not a good thing. And this idea of like 10% better from garbage shouldn't be what we settle for. It's like this, like, it feels like moderate is not a stance, it's just an attitude toward life of like,
Well, don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel about incrementalism.
But here's the thing that upsets me is that we've become so cynical that we view meh or we view cynicism as an intellectually superior attitude, and we view ambition as youthful naivete, when we think about the greatest things we have ever accomplished as a society have been ambitious acts of vision. And the meh is like worship now for what? Like for what?
All right. I cannot overemphasize how rare this is for a politician in Washington to understand how broken the conversation is around politics. To understand that, look, when you look at incrementalism or, moderate politics, pragmatism, when you look at what it's done, it's gotten America Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the result of years and years and years of moderate politics, of answering to big donors and giving everybody else, oh yeah, we're going to get closer and closer and closer to universal health care. By the time it's 2100, you're all going to have health care. Like, that's what it's been. So think about it. When you look at the data over the past 40 years. Where has all the gains gone? They've all gone to the top. The top 10 to 1% of Americans have received all of the benefits, all of the gains, all of the wealth, all of the power. What has everybody else gotten? Shit. Scraps. I mean, as AOC said, 10% better than what? Garbage. 10% better than garbage is still garbage. So when you look at a system where you still don't have universal health care, you have a for-profit healthcare industry where there are companies, executives making money off of sick people. This is supposed to be normal? This is intellectual? How the hell? I mean, this is exactly what is wrong with moderate politics. People at CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, for them, it's like, oh, well, you have to be moderate. It's the intellectual way to go. Pragmatism is more intellectual than being bold and pushing for something real. Think of how broken that narrative is. It's a narrative you will continue to see. Turn on MSNBC or CNN right now. You will see them having a discussion, and it'll be with moderate perspectives. There will be nobody on there talking about how we need to push for bold policy ideas unless you have Bernie Sanders on in an interview. But the majority of the conversation in mainstream press is all about how can we, a tax break here is going to help and maybe we'll add like a little bit more to public transit, just a little bit. We're not going to, hurt people too much. Like, think of what moderate politics have done. So you have a for-profit healthcare system. You have crumbling public transit, a crumbling infrastructure. You have a tuition that puts you in debt for decades. I mean, what exactly has it done for you? And you have a rising cost of housing. The cost of housing keeps going up and up and up. Who can afford this? People that are coming in from other countries and buying up real estate in America. That's what's happening because Americans cannot afford this housing. So understand here, if you're a voter, there is no reason to vote for a moderate politician unless, you're a wealthy millionaire or billionaire. Sure, vote for, Howard Schultz. But you want to actually, if you're just an average person, you want to vote for politicians and push for policies that are bold, that will actually push for a shift in society. So you're not going to get anywhere when you come to the table with the compromise. Again, I've talked about this before, but it's the perfect example. Barack Obama came to the table with the compromise on healthcare. He came to the table with a for-profit healthcare system, a private insurance-based healthcare system. Literally, the outline of a conservative healthcare plan from the 90s. So how the hell has that benefited people or benefited the political discourse? They still call Obama a socialist. Republicans still fought him every step of the way on his conservative healthcare plan. What benefit did it bring? You have to come to the table and push for real, bold policies or you're going to get nowhere. It won't just be 10% better than garbage. It could be 10% or 20% or 100% worse than garbage because you could get Donald Trump. Now, let me play this next clip here, which is sort of related to this, but it's about fear.
The thing about fear is that it's all designed to get you to run away from something, and it's not a plan. Fear is not a plan. But courage is a plan. Courage is, this is what we're gonna do. This is where we're gonna go. This is what I'm going to stand up, and this is the action that I'm going to take. Courage is about our future, and fear is just about anxiety. And if you're sick and tired of being an anxious nation, then you have to just be rejecting fear outright. We can't allow ourselves to be governed by fear anymore. We can't allow ourselves to be governed by that kind of rationale, to say, I'm not gonna allow fear to control me anymore. I am going to stand up and do the courageous thing.
Wow.
So that was a shorter clip on a longer answer on fear. But again, this is just 100% correct. You cannot allow fear to continue to dictate politics. And it's not just about, Donald Trump. Donald Trump clearly operates on fear of immigrants, on fear of the others, anyone that isn't white. Oh, we're so scared. But think about moderate politicians, so-called centrist politicians. They also operate on fear. Now, their fear is fear of their big donors, but they operate on fear. And the voters that vote them in operate on fear. I mean, there are so many people. You saw this in 2016. People that preferred Bernie Sanders. They preferred his platform in the primaries, but they voted for Hillary Clinton instead because they thought, oh no, Bernie Sanders can't beat Donald Trump. How'd that work out for you? It doesn't work. You will just continue getting to a worse and worse and worse place. You have to push forward. You have to push your politicians. Become an activist, get involved, do something to push the conversation forward, even if it's just talking to your friends and family and educating them on these issues and why moderate politics is not intellectual, why it's stupid. So again, AOC just continues to evolve the conversation in Washington, where it's so important to do so because you have somebody now speaking on these issues that many, progressives and lefties have been talking about for ages, but you have somebody now actually within the walls of DC talking about this and exposing how just intellectually stupid it is to be a moderate in Washington.